Hello everyone, I appreciate you being here. It's me, Waifu Belector, and I am finally ready to talk about Diablo 4. So that's what we're going to do in this video, but before that, remember to give a like if you end up enjoying, and please subscribe, I really do appreciate it, but alright. Let's talk about Diablo. Now, first off, I want to say that I have never played a Diablo game before this one, so I have no lingering loyalties or grudges when it comes to this franchise. So for my playthrough, I was going in completely fresh to the whole Diablo experience, aside from what I already understand Diablo to be. I have, after all, been aware of it all these years, I just never played it myself. And yes, if you haven't played Diablo, it is what you think it is, a loot-based dungeon crawler set in a dark fantasy world. But here's the thing, I've played my share of loot-based games before, I've played my share of MMOs, and Diablo 4 is doing what you'd expect those types of games to be doing in terms of how it plays and how it's supposed to play. But it's doing everything at an exceptionally satisfying level. The first aspect this comes through in is the first aspect you're presented with, and that aspect is the overall presentation. The graphics, the atmosphere, the ambiance, all of that immediately shines through as the first thing to get you on the hook. Everything is beautiful, if not in its own gory, grim way, and it almost immediately makes for a world that's just fun to be in, if nothing else. However, this is all just the tip of the iceberg. As you know, Diablo 4 is a dungeon crawling action RPG, and the quality of any RPG is in large part measured by its freedom of choice and or variety of approach. This is probably the true shining jewel of Diablo 4. In Diablo 4, there are 5 character classes: Barbarian, Rogue, Sorcerer, Necromancer, and Druid, each with an absolute fucking bevy of abilities that can be equipped to one of your 6 skill slots. So basically, no matter what class you pick, you get a ton of abilities, but you can only use 6 at a time, which then creates the fun of mixing and matching abilities for different kinds of playstyles, because every character class doesn't simply play one way. In fact, each class has several options of build and approach, to the point where you and at least 2 friends can all be the same class and none of you have the same abilities, which is pretty fucking crazy. You then match this already deep gameplay variety with pools of loot that infinitely increase in quality, and you've made for an absolutely addictive gameplay loop. The world of Diablo 4 is also properly peppered with things to do. This is a dungeon crawler, so obviously there are dungeons, and those dungeons usually make for a fun romp for XP and loot, often complete with a boss fight. But most of the greatest and my favorite stuff comes from the shared world events, because Diablo 4 has a shared world. The game is technically an MMO, although I like to think of it as an MMO light, because while it does have a shared world and there are a ton of MMO things happening, you also can spend a lot of time not seeing any other players, a lot more time than is typical for other MMOs, I'd say. And along with that time, there seems to be more care and attention given to the idea that someone would be playing Diablo 4 alone in comparison to other MMOs. But whatever, I just found this game's take on an MMO to be interesting. Anyway, a lot of the attractions throughout the world are those shared world MMO attractions, many of which only begin to appear once you complete the main campaign and or increase the difficulty of the game. So completing the campaign doesn't suddenly leave you finished with nothing to do and the game slowly whittling you down into boredom. On the contrary, once you complete the campaign, there becomes more to do than ever. There are many world events that you can just step into to kinda do an open one-step side mission. There are Legion events, which are these like big sieges pitting players against huge hordes of demons. There are Hell Tides that cover a section of the map in red and you kill the powerful demons in the area for a currency that you can use to open special chests that hold specific loot. And of course, there are world bosses, big, huge, powerful, bombastic bosses that take the combined might of a lot of players to defeat. There's more stuff that I'm not mentioning, but the point is there is a lot of shit to do in this game, and more importantly, it's cool and fun shit. I took a long time before I made this video because I was too busy enjoying that cool fun shit. I mean, honestly, this is a game of such high quality that you have to nitpick it to find something wrong with it. Like, my biggest thing, I say big, but it's not big, but my biggest thing is probably that I don't really understand using the blacksmith to upgrade gear. I mean, I get how it works, but I don't get why it's useful until maybe you have gear so powerful that you'll likely never find anything better. Because the upgrading increases the stats on items so incrementally that it's almost irrelevant. And it's certainly irrelevant when you consider that you can go do a dungeon or anything and you're likely going to find something more powerful very quickly. I feel like the blacksmith upgrades should power up your items way more than they do, an actual substantial amount maybe. Then you'd be wrestling between the choice of spending the gold and resources to get a guaranteed sizable power increase or just holding on to your resources and waiting until you find better loot. But instead, with the baby bitch increase in stats you get from these blacksmith upgrades, it's an easy choice to just wait 5 seconds until you definitely get better loot. I don't know, man. Maybe I don't understand it. If not, I'd love to understand. Let me know if you have some insight, or maybe that's just how they designed it. It's just extra icing for end game items. But then why let me do it to anything that isn't legendary? I don't know. That's my gripe. Really, the only one I can even think of. So yeah, those are just my quick thoughts about Diablo 4 put into a fairly concise little video. If I had to put a number on it, I do feel that it is a 10 out of 10. And listen, I don't say that lightly, so saying 10 out of 10 about 2 games in 1 year, which I have done this year, I don't like it. But the truth is the truth. If 2 games that I think are 10s come out next to each other, I've got to say that they're 10s, even if it makes me look like one of these watered down buffoons who gives a 10 to every piece of shit under the sun. But what can I say? Diablo 4 is a fantastic game. It's raining good games lately, honestly. But yeah, anyway, if you enjoyed this, why not leave a like? And I'd really appreciate if you subscribed. But regardless, until next time, I am Waifu Belector. I am just a normal guy. I like hentai, and Lilith is my latest gaming waifu. Goodbye.